Well, good morning. I was a little hot, so I took my blazer off, and I don't usually wear a tie to work, but I have always wanted to give a speech in a building with my father's name on it. It's amazing. You give a building, and suddenly you become board chair. So if y'all want to take that track, there's probably a building space available to you. But I don't normally wear a tie except when I come to MBA. But I was reading this book that Cal Turner wrote called My Father's Business. I don't know if any of you have read it, but Cal Turner was the CEO of Dollar General and really did great things with the company. But he talked about his father coming to town, or I guess he was going to Scottsville, and the father had been the head of the company, and now the son was the head of the company, and the father was, I guess, having a pre-meeting with some of his buddies, and he had a tie on, and his friends were saying, "Why do you have this tie on?" He said, "Well, the boss is coming to town." And he said, "It's a sign of respect to wear a tie for somebody." And so this is my show of respect for you guys. I don't normally wear a tie. I'm in the beer business, beer distribution, videos, video games, and now I'm dabbling in the Porto-John business. So got all the bases covered. But it's kind of fun. So I have a tie on for you guys. Last night, I came briefly for the cocktail part of the reception, but last night, I was at a dinner for the United States Golf Association, and I'm the president of the Golf Club of Tennessee, and MBA had a lot to do with my love for golf. I played in the golf team and ended up playing college golf, and I met this awesome woman who is a great golfer and is now my wife. I met her at school. And so we're putting on the 118th version of the U.S. Women's Amateur at the Golf Club of Tennessee. And it's kind of a big deal. It's the biggest event that we've had at this course. And it's televised. It's on in the afternoon on FS1 if you're a golf junkie. But the USGA wigs were in town kind of inspecting everything. And we had a nice event for them at, what's it called, the Loveless Cafe. And so we invited Amy Grant to come sing, and most of you probably know Amy Grant's a pretty well-known singer, and so she's up and giving her spiel, and she's got a keyboardist, and she's got a guitar, and she's talking about how she's really a pretty average guitar player, and really not that awesome of a singer either, but she sleeps with an awesome guitar player and an awesome singer, and you all may know that that's Vince Gill. So I was thinking, well, you know, that's something that I have in common with Amy Grant. I sleep with someone with way more ability than I have, which would be my wife on the golf course we're talking now. So now that we've talked about sleeping with people, I know Brad's very happy about this. And, you know, it's a way to kick things off. And I know some of you all have been sleeping around also because I saw some new babies in the crowd last night. So congratulations for that. So anyway, MBA. MBA's been great in my life. Brad mentioned that I went there and my children went there and my dad, my brother, and it's been a big part of our world. And I was thinking, you know, what types of things can I talk to the group about that would make MBA relevant to them? And they probably were saying, well, why does David Ingram spend his time messing around with MBA? And there's a lot of reasons for that. But I thought, well, maybe I should just tell people how MBA touches my life just in the last few months. And so here's my speech. I listed names. So the first name I put on there is Dylan Cross. And probably none of you know Dylan, but maybe some of you do. But he's a young man. I think he's coming in the 7th grade, but he is doing the computer course in the summer, I guess. And he is the son of a good friend of mine who moved to town and was just adamant that his son goes to MBA. And he didn't go to MBA, but he'd heard all about MBA. So Dylan gets into MBA, and he's doing the computer class. And this guy that Dylan's dad, Kevin, lives across the street from me, and he sent me a picture, and you know, Dylan's first day at MBA, and he's so fired up, and he's so happy, and I saw Dylan after I did a little run, and he's all fired up, and I'm thinking, wow, this is really what it's all about. This is, you're educating new people, the parents are so excited about their child getting the MBA experience. And I tell you, giving my children their diploma, and that's something that, I'll cherish forever, but that was one of the highlights of my life. So I thank you for that. I mean, it's really important. Another MBA story is a name, Jaron Leisure. So I get this email from Jimmy Webb, who used to be board chair, and Jimmy said, I was on a Southwest flight and I ran into a parent who's got a son who's an awesome golfer, and he and his brother are going to come to MBA. And the father, I believe, was in the military in Virginia and was retiring from the military and had an MBA connection. I should know this, but I don't know if he went to MBA or just knew of MBA, but he wanted his children to have the MBA experience. And so he moves from Virginia to Nashville. And his son, Jaron, must be a good student, but he's an awesome golfer. And he's coming to MBA as a junior. And to tell you how good of a golfer he is, he recently went out to Torrey Pines and played in a junior tournament and finished 19th in a national junior tournament. And Jimmy was contacting me because he knew of all my connections to the Golf Club of Tennessee, and the MBA team plays out at Golf Club of Tennessee, and he was trying to figure out how we could get Jaron a place to play now that he's new to town and didn't have a good place to practice before. He obviously was going to make the MBA team because he's so awesome, and he did make the team. But we worked it out so he could play as a couple of members' guest, until he had the qualifier for the MBA team. So there's another example of just a recent student. He's coming to town. He's all fired up. He's an awesome golfer, and MBA is going to really benefit from having this young man part of the community. Another name I would throw out there is Newt Pate. So I'm having dinner with John Thompson, another MBA kind of young-ish alum compared to me. And John's family is the Caterpillar dealership here in town, Thompson Machinery. And so I'm asking John, I'd really like to get somebody that has an MBA background who is age-wise kind of between my children and me. And John thought about it because John's about the right age, in his mid-30s, and he said, well, how about Newt Pate? And so I got to know Newt, and we talked about him possibly working in my business, and didn't work out for various reasons, but I stayed in touch with Newt, and Newt got involved in what's called a search fund, which is where you raise money from investors and then go out and find a business to put it into. It's sort of popular with some of the millennials and high potential people, and Newt has the background. He's got an MBA and all the pedigrees, and he'd worked for a bank, and he wanted to do something entrepreneurial. And so I stayed in touch with Newt, and he showed me several businesses, and he finally said, I really think I'm going to get this business in Arkansas done. And he ended up buying a porta potty business, of all things, in Arkansas, and has some other ones kind of on the string, so to speak. But I suggested to Newt, I said, well, why don't you come out and office at my building at Ingram Entertainment and use some of my people, and we can help you. And my own personal situation, I'm in the video and video game distribution business, which is sort of going away with technology. And so I've been working to get into other spaces, and I got into beer distribution about 15 years ago. And so some of my management team has transitioned over to the beer business, but it's mainly located out in California. So I'm still looking for things to kind of utilize all these awesome people that work for me for 20 plus years in the video space. And so the porta potty business may be the answer, but we've started helping Newt on sort of a fee-for-service basis, and Newt is having some success. He's an MBA guy, great guy, and his wife now is working in the development office. So Kristen, I just met her this morning actually, but you all will get to know her. But there's another MBA connection, Newt and Kristen. So I'm going to name three more names, and then I'm going to sit down. But now I'm going to move to my eyesight. My eyesight, when I was in 7th grade in MBA, was pretty good, and then I hit puberty and it started going haywire. So I wore glasses, contacts, I've had LASIKs, all the different things. And Eric Gross, who I used to sit next to at Wallace Hall and Study Hall, is my LASIKs or my eye doctor, cornea doctor. So I was then seeing him, and he's looking at this or that, and he saw something in my eye he didn't like, and he said, "You have a macular pucker." I was like, "Well, that sounds great. What is that?" He said, "Well, it's something that scar tissue on your mirror of your eye, and if they don't fix it, it causes serious problems." And so Eric said, "But I got just the guy for you. I'm going to send you to Carl O." Well, Carl O, I know because he's on the MBA board, so there's another MBA connection. So Carl goes in, fixes the macular pucker. He said, "We did it, it's healing well, it's great, but the only problem with macular pucker is it causes an early cataract." And so I was sent back to Eric. I think they have this little thing going on. So Eric gives me a new lens, takes care of the cataract. I was practically blind in my right eye, and now I'm seeing like I was a 7th grader again in my right eye. It's fabulous. I'm 20/20, so there's my commercial for Eric Gross and Carl. And I guess Carl had a son that went to MBA. So my last MBA connection, Beth Harwell. So many of you, if you've been paying attention to the governor's race, have seen Beth Harwell, and you know Beth, who is our first female head of the House of Representatives for the state of Tennessee. And Beth's on the MBA board. Well, Beth's husband went to MBA with me. I was a classmate. And Beth and Sam kind of hotboxed me and said, "We'd like you to be the treasurer of our campaign." It's like, "Oh, great. Thank you very much." But I do like Beth and I do like Sam a lot. So I agreed to get involved with their campaign. And we raised some money and did some things. And, it didn't go quite as well as I had hoped, but there's another MBA connection. So just goes to show that MBA touches every part of the community. And I just wanted to share some of those little vignettes in my life and my connection to MBA. But I haven't talked about a $100 million gift once. But you don't get many $100 million gifts. I think you all know about our $100 million gift. And I would say that the reason a place like MBA gets a $100 million gift is because of you guys. And there's a donor that sees what MBA does, sees MBA's impact on the community, and wants to perpetuate that and wants to give you guys the tools to be successful, because our motto is gentleman, scholar, and athlete. So we need all the tools to be able to make good on that motto. So I would say maybe give yourself a round of applause for a $100 million gift, because it didn't come because of me, it came because of you guys. So thank you.